look, I'm not going to cut corners with you and say the NERF Zombie Strike Ghoulgrinder, a $32 10-shot rotating turret bolt action thing, is exactly what the community was looking for right now, but I also have to be aware that some people just like to have fun. And I'm one of those people that just like to have fun, and it's not Elite 2.0. I'm really trying to ignore the blasters that are staring at me just behind the camera. I figured I'd break things up a bit and try to enjoy NERF while I can, because I think just everything after this is going to be Elite 2.0, and I'm not looking forward to that whatsoever at all. And I have it in good faith that the Ghoulgrinder isn't going to break on me during a review, and at least it looks cool. Looks really cool, actually. I'm a big fan of the Zombie Strike series. It is actually my favorite NERF series. And hey, maybe some of you out there were excited to see the Ghoulgrinder, regardless of the price and the performance and how much it has in capacity and everything like that. We're gonna take a look at the Ghoulgrinder. I'm hoping that I'll have some fun with this one. Comes with stock. I mean, that's usually good enough. And a barrel attachment point. There we go. I think one of my favorite things about the Zombie Strike series blasters is how you can painfully tell that there's another blaster in that person's hand that will hopefully be a thing that's pretty good. I mean, it hasn't been that long since we've got a pretty amazing Zombie Strike blaster. The Nail Biter is one of the best NERF blasters you can buy. It fills a niche and it fills it well. This thing is, well, it's just more stupid fun. It's not a Revoltinator or anything like that, where it's a strife with a bunch of lights that you could do some really cool things with. No, it's just at least it does something different. That's kind of my whole basis for this entire review. It doesn't really matter because at least it's attempting something different. And this pan-shaped magazine up at the front, turret, whatever you want to call it, a thing that is really dumb to do with real steel firearms, but can be done in NERF because you don't have to worry about darts coming back at you if something happens to go wrong in the magazine. That's a good idea. And it is $32 or so. I picked this up off of Amazon. I have a link down in the description below where you can pick one up. It's an affiliate link, so if you buy anything off of that link, I get a kickback and it really helps the channel, so thank you very much for those of you that use that, because it helps me purchase stuff like this. It's got a rotating 10-dart wheel. It's a pull-to-prime bolt-action system. Ironically enough, they don't show you the bolt in here. In fact, I have no idea where it actually is. It must be in this container down here. It's got a removable stock, and besides the little teaser of this power drill looking thing, there is no other blasters being shown off right now. That's kind of it. The only Zombie Strike blaster I know being released in 2020. I'm always worried this line will kind of die, because this is the line that gave us the Sledge Fire, the Hammer Shot, the Sling Fire, and so much more. I don't want it to go away, because I really do like it, but one release a year now is rough. 3, 2, 1, rider kick. Turn up, gâchette, and boom. Wow, that is a big, beefy boy. It's really front heavy, as you would expect, because the entire blaster's on the front. But again, already, I'm kind of seeing a use for a blaster like this, because to be perfectly honest, one of the best ways to defend yourself from incoming darts is to bat them out of the air. That's one thing that I really liked about the Alpha Strike Hammer Storm. It was a big paddle of a blaster, so if I was really using that blaster in a competitive sense, I could slap darts out of the air with it. Now, past a stock NERF war, that's not exactly a thing, but for stock wars, definitely possible. This is kind of the same thing. It's almost like having a shield on your blaster, and for some reason it reminds me of the Judge's Sword from Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. I don't know why. Maybe it's just a pizza cutter aesthetic. Okay, well, pizza cutter, it's supposed to be an angle grinder, but you get it. And here's the part they don't show you on the box, and oh man, there's like I guess they're trying to prevent it from priming, I guess. That's different. Completely different aesthetics, and while I'm not a huge fan of things that aren't, this almost looks like it's 3D printed. I'm getting distracted. While I'm not a huge fan of things that aren't symmetrical, it does work with this blast because of its cobbled together aesthetic, so that's not bad. It's got a rail up here, what I assume are dart holders back here, sling point, removable stock. Kind of interesting. It's a really short stock, but it does look kind of cool. It's definitely not comfortable at all, but which has also got a sling point right there, technically one right here if you really wanted to, another sling point potentially right here, and that is pretty much everything except for your end strike attachment point up here. So it's got most of the attachment points you would want in a blaster like this. And sure enough, we pull out, that it? That is it. The 10 included darts, and it only includes 10 darts. I find that almost insulting at this point because it's a $32 blaster. And the priming bar, which is, well, oh, it does thread in. Well, it's just some kind of like screwdriver grip kind of thing, and it does thread in, meaning it's completely removable, although you can't put it on the other side. Potentially, it is forever locked to just this one side of the blaster. Now, this could be fine for both lefties and righties, but it is only going to prime on one side. So if you're using the blaster, you pretty much have to use it like this. And if you're left-handed, I mean, I guess you could go like this. I don't know. Like this? That'll probably work pretty good. So that looks kind of cool. No slam fire, unfortunately. Oh, it's got a pretty good lock in it. The draw is really, really short. That doesn't bode well at all for internals on this thing. Which, if you've ever seen the internals on this thing, which I have thanks to Buff Daddy from Blaster Hub, thank you very much for letting me use these pictures, actually is like basically a strong arm inside this thing with a little hose that connects to the middle of this pan turret that shoots darts out the front of it, which is a really crazy way of going about it, but it does fit the aesthetic. I mean, it's an angle grinder. Props for it feeling like the thing it's trying. There's a lot of detail. I don't know if you can see that. All that. There we go. Look, it actually like tries to mimic a grinder disc in there. That is incredible. On the back side of this has got a bunch of lines and stuff on it. Really, the design is pretty good. It's a shame they didn't do a little bit more with like making it more of a competitive blaster. Also very comfortable to hold like this if you want to. The grip is excellent in my opinion. I have no problems with the grip. It's nice and big, and honestly, it's one of the better grips I've seen released from NERF in quite some time. Not sure what the whole point is with the rail up here, seeing as how you basically can't get a scope or anything on it because it's going to hit this wheel thing. So the good news is, at this point in the review, is that if you were thinking this was a thing, like you had an idea of what this blaster was going to be and you were planning on buying it, well, good news, it pretty much is exactly that. I got like a little metal shaving on my dart. I don't even know how that happened. That is weird. Load it up, prime it, and yeah, it's nothing super special. I mean, it feels incredibly solid in the hand, but yeah, there really isn't a whole lot to say about the Ghoulgrinder, but let's take it outside and see what it can do on the range test. Alrighty, see what she can do. Well, that's what I typically expect from Elite, but you can see it caught the wind there pretty horrendously. That's a little bit more what I would expect, yeah. Zero accuracy. That one actually went straight. The second I praise it. There we go, a little bit of an angle. Let's try some Adventure Force waffles now. Perfectly straight. A little bit of an angle. There we go. It's like night and day, man. Adventure Force waffles are so much better. 70.1. 69.8 giggity, 67.2, 68.8, 64.9, 66.5, 68.2, and 67.5. I'm not really sure what else I could add to the conversation here. The Ghoulgrinder is exactly what you think it was going to be. It doesn't really do anything more than what's written on the box. It is a bolt-action, 10-shot, rotating turret, although this is a unique rotating turret, with a stock attachment point. The stock, they cheaped out a little bit on the other side. It's all hollow, but It's at least a cool little stock. It doesn't really do anything super crazy special. It's nothing that you necessarily have to run out and get. It's not going to rewrite the rules of play. It's just a fun little toy that works in the way that's advertised. For $32, it's a bit expensive, but it does feel extremely solid. It is well detailed. It does have something cool and interesting going for it, so while it may not be for me, I can't necessarily hate it either. And hey, it hasn't broken during my review, which is, again, more than I could say for some other stuff. But I'd really like to get your feedback on this one, because this is one of the more difficult reviews I've ever had to do, simply because it's just so bleh. There's really nothing special about it. I can't find anything necessarily wrong with it, but I also don't really see a reason to love it beyond the inevitable fact that somebody at some post-apocalyptic LARP session is going to paint this thing up to look amazing. This is a blaster that I could definitely get behind on that thing. It just is begging to be painted. It just kind of sucks they didn't do any kind of color separation right here on the main body of the blaster itself. It's just one big, huge green thing. But a little bit of paint and this thing will look absolutely fantastic. And it does, honestly, the silhouette and everything looks really cool in my opinion. So if you're interested in having a blaster that looks like an angle grinder, well, there's a link down in the description to Amazon where you can pick one of these up. Again, it's like $32, so it might be a bit high for some people, but I paid for it with my own money, and I don't exactly feel all that burnt by it, so that's how that thing goes. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'm, of course, Walcom S7. I really appreciate I know this wasn't the most exciting blaster ever, but I appreciate you sticking around until the very end, and do know that we're working really hard. We have a big trip this weekend planned for filming the 100K subscriber special, and I'm hoping that's going to be really cool, and I hope you enjoy that. So it might be another week or two until you see that, but we are going to go film it this coming weekend. And of course, a lot more videos planned, because I have a lot of stuff right behind the camera. I'm not looking forward to any of it right now. But thank you very much for watching this video, and of course, I hope to see you in an entirely different one.
You gotta